Hey there, fourth grade, it's Mr. Remedies with today's reading menu lesson. Today, we're learning how to determine the main idea of nonfiction text. As always, we have some learning goals and success criteria, so let's take a look and see what those are right now. Our learning goal is that we are learning how to identify the main idea of informational nonfiction text. Right? Along the way, we have some success criteria that help you know that you are headed in the right direction. Summed up in 3 I can statements today. Like I can define main idea, I can describe the difference between topic and main idea, and I can use text evidence to identify the author's purpose, which helps us in identifying the main idea. If you can hit those 3 I can statements along the way, I think you're right on track to hit today's learning goal. Now, let's move on over to some very important vocabulary. That vocabulary is main idea. And here in fourth grade, we're going to switch up the definition of main idea from what you may be used to. Here in fourth grade, the main idea is the author's message about the topic. Okay? And we'll explore a little bit about what that means in just 1 second. So remember, here in the fourth grade and beyond, the main idea is the author's message about the topic. All right, now let's dive right into today's lesson. One thing we want to touch on during this lesson and to set the stage for this lesson is the idea of topic versus main idea. Now, you guys have learned in previous grades that main idea and topic are generally the same thing. However, in the fourth grade, they're a little bit different. There's a distinct difference. So as you see on your screen, topic is what the book or text is about. The main idea, like we said in our last slide, is what the author has to say about the topic. Okay? Let's look at some examples of exactly what the difference is between topic and main idea. So topic, identifying the topic is super easy. So I can look at this book and be like, hey, Mr. Remedies, what's that about? This is about whales. This one's about dinosaurs. This one's about animal adaptations. And this one's about birds. Right? And so in previous grades, you may have been allowed or you may have learned main idea as just what the text is about. But that is a little easy for fourth graders. In fact, you can oftentimes just look at the cover of the book to decide what the text is about. However, looking at main idea takes a little work. It's going to take a little bit of our good reading comprehension, our critical thinking skills, and kind of some reading detective work to find out and identify the main idea of a text. To explore this idea, we're going to look at this wonderful text called Exploding Ants and Other Amazing Defenses by Rebecca Hirsch. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to scoot on over to my EPIC library, and we're going to really explore this text. Here I am on getepic.com looking at Exploding Ants and Other Amazing Defenses, and I know that the topic of this text is animal defenses. And so I think I'm done, right? I know what the main idea is. It's amazing defenses. However, once I start to flip through the book and once I start to read the book, I notice that I have to do some work on my end to determine really what the main idea is. Now, in each section, in each chapter, the author gives me the lowdown on some pretty unique adaptations that some of these animals have. So, for instance, like a very slimy eel type of creature. And then the exploding ants who defend themselves by like exploding full poison. And then it tells me a little bit about armored pangolins who kind of have a unique adaptation because they have scales. They're one of the only mammals with scales. They curl up and they release like a stink bomb from their bodies, kind of like skunks. So this book is all about not just adaptations, but some sort of unique adaptations. So I have to just ask myself, what is the author's angle? So, what is the author trying to tell me? So, what is the author telling me about adaptations that is unique and different than any other book out there on adaptations? Because, spoiler alert, there are an awful lot of books about animal adaptations out there. So, as the reader, as we go through the text, that's what we should be asking ourselves. So, what is the author trying to tell me? What's the angle they're coming out at this from? And how and why is this different than any other book on the topic of animal adaptations? Once we start to really ponder that, once we start to really consider those questions, and really come across the answers to those questions, we can really hammer home a good main idea about the text. So, the main idea, so what? Ask yourself while reading, so what is the author's angle? How are they coming at this topic differently than any other author has before? You can also ask yourself, so what? So, what's different about this book than any other book on the topic before it? Right? If we can really get a good establishment of asking ourselves this type of question, then we can really dive deeper into what main ideas are all about. So let's take a look at our text, Exploding Ants, and let's really try to ask ourselves some of these questions and come up with the main idea. So for Exploding Ants, remember we thumbed through the book. Now normally you would read the entire text, and we noticed that the author gave us a lot of interesting facts about animal adaptations, but there seemed to be a common thread, there seemed to be a common trait among each of the animals that we read about. The author chose not to give us adaptations like a polar bear's fur being white so it blends in with the snow, or a giraffe being really tall and skinny to blend in with trees. It didn't give us any of those things. The book included quite a few facts that seemed to be rather gross, kind of disgusting by human standards. And so I can put all of that together to come up with the main idea, asking myself, so what's the author's angle? The author chose to, include some pretty gross facts about animal adaptations. And I can ask myself, so what's different about this book than any other book before it? And that's the inclusion of those seemingly gross facts. So I can do my good reader work, and I can say that although some animal behaviors and adaptations are gross to humans, they are critical to their life on Earth. And I think that's a fantastic main idea to come across and pull out of this text. Okay, as a review, remember, nonfiction text always, 100% of the time, have a main idea. The main idea of a nonfiction text is the author's message about the topic. It is no longer just the topic. To identify the main idea, we need to ask ourselves two questions, two so what questions, like, so what is the author's angle on this topic? And two, so what makes this text different than all the other text on this topic? Once we can put our excellent reading skills to use and determine the answer to those two questions, we will have correctly identified what the main idea is in nonfiction text. All right. As always, you guys have just absolutely done a fantastic job at this lesson. You'll have a chance to practice in your assignment following this video. And during your reading time today, I encourage you to check out a nonfiction text and see if you can identify what the main idea is. All right, until next time, I've been Mr. Remedies. You've been amazing. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, and we will see you